What if I told you that the clothes on your back, the phone in your hand, even the medicine in your bathroom, all trace back to one place, China? And now imagine, one night, the president steps up to the mic and says, "Effective immediately, the United States is cutting all trade with the People's Republic of China." No warning, no time to prepare, just silence between the world's two largest economies. That's not a plot from a Netflix thriller. That's a real possibility in today's geopolitical tension. And if it happened, your life would change overnight. Let's unpack the hidden chaos no one's talking about. The modern US economy is like a giant Lego set, but half the pieces come from China. You want an iPhone? Sorry, it's designed in California, but made in China. You want a laptop, TV, gaming console? All made in China. I mean, you don't need to look for China. Just look in your home. Your toothbrush, your laptop, your AirPods, almost everything is either made in China or some of its parts are made in China. Over $500 billion in goods come from China every year. That includes 90% of electronics, 70% of home goods, 42% of all consumer goods, and most of your kids' school supplies. And it's not just products. It's the components inside your products. Your Tesla? Full of Chinese lithium. Your Xbox controller? Chinese plastics, chips, circuits. America doesn't just buy things from China. It builds its entire economy on them. This isn't just supply chain stress. It's like the economic organ failure. You know what's more dangerous than empty store shelves? Empty pharmacies. Almost 90% of America's active pharmaceutical ingredients come from China or India. And guess where India gets its base chemicals? Yep, China. Surgical masks, gloves, ventilator parts? Yeah, also China. So, no more antibiotics. No more blood pressure meds. Cancer treatments? Delayed. Surgeries? Cancelled. Hospitals scramble. Pharmacies ration. A medical crisis starts brewing in the background. And no, you can't fix it with American factories overnight. FDA regulations, time-consuming processes, and raw material shortages make this a slow-motion disaster. You know what's more sensitive than a cat during bath time? The stock market. When US-China trade ends, Apple loses production. Tesla loses battery parts. Nvidia loses rare earths. Boeing loses Chinese airline customers. Wall Street loses trillions in market cap within hours. And guess whose 401k is tied to those companies? Your. Forget 9% inflation. Try 20%. Maybe 30%. Every item we take for granted, electronics, clothes, toys, tools, gets exponentially more expensive. No cheap labor, no cheap materials, no cheap products. The era of cheap everything is over, because cheap was made in China. The working and middle class get squeezed the hardest, and the Federal Reserve, caught between stopping inflation and avoiding recession. Either way, someone pays. Let's flip the coin. Some say, good, this will force the US to bring manufacturing back. And yes, cutting ties with China could spark a new era of American industry. More factories, more jobs, less dependence. But rebuilding an industrial base that was offshored for 30 years isn't easy. It's not just building new plants. It's retraining the workforce, rewriting supply chains, and fighting against cost. American factories haven't built certain components in decades. Labor is 5x more expensive. Skilled workers? Not enough. And this isn't just about finished goods. Without Chinese components, our factories become museums. Ford can't build trucks. Boeing can't build planes. Intel can't build chips. Why? Because China supplies not just finished goods, but the rare earths, the metals, the tools, the tech, the invisible gears that keep the machine turning. Without them, the engine dies. This isn't just economics. It's a power shift. China doesn't sit back quietly. They retaliate. They weaponize rare earth metals, which are critical for EVs, fighter jets, and drones. They block exports. They dump US debt. They lean harder into alliances with Russia, Iran, and others. The world splits into two rival economic worlds. A new anti-dollar alliance begins to rise. Trade in UN increases. BRICS countries strengthen ties. US global influence starts to slip. And guess what? In this new version of the Cold War, it's not tanks or nukes, it's semiconductors, medicine, food, and leverage. Here's what they don't teach you in Econ 101. When two superpowers split, the whole planet glitches. Because global trade isn't two countries shaking hands. It's thousands of businesses, millions of workers, and trillions in goods moving like clockwork. Break that clock, and countries everywhere get hit by the shrapnel. Latin America loses trade routes. Europe, caught in the economic crossfire. Half its goods move through the US-China pipeline. Southeast Asia becomes the new battleground. Everyone rushes there to replace China. It's not just the US versus China. It's Earth versus chaos. All right, breathe. This isn't all apocalypse. In the long term, some good can come from this. First, rebuilding American industry. More factories, more jobs. The US reclaims its manufacturing muscle. Second, national security wins. No more foreign reliance for critical military tech. Secure supply chains. Third, tech reshoring. Semiconductor fabs open in Arizona, Texas. Robotics, automation, and AI skyrocket to fill the labor gap. Fourth, innovation spike. With pressure comes progress. New solutions, new startups, new sectors emerge. But it's not a painless path. It's expensive, it's chaotic, and it takes years, maybe even a decade, to stabilize. So, is cutting China off good or bad? It depends who you ask. The negatives? Economic shock, inflation, layoffs, shortages, global instability. The positives: industrial rebirth, strategic independence, stronger national defense, less reliance on a geopolitical rival. It's not black and white. It's a question of short-term pain versus long-term sovereignty. If it's gradual and strategic, we build resilience, boost jobs, and reduce national security risks. If it's overnight and emotional, we shock the economy, destabilize households, and fracture global trust. It's like amputating a limb without anesthesia. Maybe it saves the body, but it hurts. Bad. So what if the US cut all trade ties with China overnight? You'd feel it in your wallet, in your health, in your job, in your everyday life, because in a world built on global codependence, unplugging doesn't make you free. It makes you vulnerable. But maybe, just maybe, it also forces you to wake up. And could America rebuild? Yes. But it would take years, trillions, and a whole lot of pain. And if this opened your eyes even a little, hit that like button so more people wake up. Share this with someone who still thinks global trade doesn't matter. And drop a comment. Should America cut the cord or fix the wire?